Good morning, everyone. I was hoping to get to this a couple of days ago, but I couldn't. I had my little girl was in hospital from Saturday, and she only come home last night. So this is pretty much my first opportunity to go through this stuff. I haven't read it yet, so I'm a little excited, but I don't know what I'm gonna get. So these are the Stephanie Jones exhibits that were attached to her motion for spoliation sanctions. They've just been recently unsealed. So we're going to start with the first one, which is the excerpt of Jen Abel's deposition. We're starting on page 208. Gottlieb is questioning on behalf of Lively. She is represented by Friedman. So, question. Exhibit 57 is a document bearing the Bates number, and it's a Bates number from Baldoni. This appears to be a text chain between you, Ms. Jones, Mr. Heath, and Mr. Baldoni on November 10th, 2023. Jen, yes. Gottlieb, and it starts around 9:53 p.m. and concludes around 10:12 p.m. Is that right? Jen, yes. Gottlieb, and do you recall this conversation? Jen, I do. Gottlieb, and in this conversation, Mr. Baldoni reaches out and he says he needs you and Miss Jones on a Zoom, right? Jen, yes. Gottlieb, and Mr. Heath says it begins again. Jen says yes. And then Friedman asks, are we missing a page? It goes from 2414 to 2416. There's someone else, Miss Tostine. It's a picture of this bear, which is probably that sleeping bear from that text chain that Stephanie Jones sent. Gottlieb, it's missing an image from the production. I will represent to you, Mr. Friedman. It's a screenshot of this bear. Friedman, I have that one here. And then we go on to Gottlieb. Yeah, Mr. Friedman, that's 20413. Gottlieb, it's an entire page with this reproduced on it. Gottlieb, what did you understand Mr. Heath to mean by saying it begins again? Jen, I mean, at the time, I don't think I really gave that much notice, but now, in this context, I assume additional issues. Gottlieb, do you see 1011 at the bottom of page 0414? Mr. Heath has forwarded you a legal letter, a screenshot of a legal letter. Anyway, that had been received from Miss Lively's lawyer. Jen, yes. Gottlieb, and in it, Miss Lively's lawyer discusses the complaints of our clients and others. Jen, Gottlieb, and do you see that there is an attachment that Mr. Heath had sent at 10:12 p.m.? Jen, yes. Gottlieb, and that attachment is the protections for return to production document that is up, and there's a Baldoni Bates number. Jen, yes. Gottlieb, do you recall receiving these 17 protections for return to production? Jen, yes, he texted it to us. Gottlieb, do you recall reviewing them at the time? Jen, yes. Gottlieb, did you review all of them? I would get so irritated if I had to sit with Gottlieb questioning me in a deposition. Oh, right. Did you review all of them? Jen, we had a phone call and we talked through these. Gottlieb, and in fact, there came other points in time later in the timeline when you talked about these points with Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni, right? Jen, you're going to have to be a little bit more specific. Gottlieb, this wasn't the last time. November 10th, 2023 was not the last time you looked at this 17-point list, right? Friedman objects. Jen says correct. Gottlieb. Eventually, you all devised sort of responses or points to address these, should they ever become public, right? Friedman objects. Jen says, I believe that we put, and then it cuts off. And then we jump to page 249. Halfway through a question, your belief that person could bury Miss Lively. Friedman, objection. Jen, no. Gottlieb, you sure? Jen, yes. Gottlieb, Miss Abel, yesterday you testified that in some point of August of 2017, you were added to a signal chain. Is that right? Jen, sorry, what was the date? Oh. Gottlieb, at some point in, did I say 2017? The stenographer says yes. In August of 2024, you were added to a signal chain with a few people. Is that right? Jen, I believe I testified that I think I was around that time frame. I don't think there was any content in that text chain. Gottlieb, okay. And who was? Hold on, just a second. Who was on the text chain to the best of your recollection? Jen, I believe it was. I'd have to go back and refresh my memory. Gottlieb, okay. You're not sure as you sit here today. Jen, oh, I'm not sure. Gottlieb, did you? Is it fair to say you didn't use Signal very often? Jen, correct. Gottlieb, you didn't open the app very much. It wasn't something you used on a regular daily basis. Is that your testimony? Friedman objects. Jen, I believe my testimony yesterday was that I had to re-download it because the only time that I used it was when Stephanie introduced me to the app for use on another client, and I had deleted it. Gottlieb, you deleted it? And in August of 2024, at some point you reinstalled the app. Jen, I recall doing so, yes. Gottlieb, and you were on some chain that you don't remember who was on it, and you don't remember really what was sent or not sent. Jen, correct. Gottlieb, did you ever send a message on Signal in August of 2024 to the best of your recollection? Jen, I don't recall. Gottlieb, and the thing about this is we'll never know, right? Because Signal is an ephemeral messaging platform. Friedman, objection. Gottlieb, do you know what an ephemeral messaging platform is? Friedman objects. Jen says, I know the definition of ephemeral messaging, yes. Gottlieb, the messages delete after a certain period of time if you have the settings set a certain way, right? Jen, that is my understanding of how it works. Gottlieb, sorry, that's why some people like to use Signal, right? Speculation. Friedman, objection. Jen, sure. Gottlieb, because it messages delete and therefore there's perceived privacy in those communications. Friedman objects. Jen, amongst other reasons, yes. Gottlieb, security reasons? Jen, yes. Gottlieb, are you aware that Mr. Wallace was communicating with your colleagues or colleagues at TAG or others at Wayfarer using the Signal platform in August of 2024? Jen, I don't recall if I was aware at the time, but I have become aware of that since then. Gottlieb, okay, what did you become aware of? Jen, the usage of Signal amongst Jed Wallace and other people. Gottlieb, okay, let's look at Exhibit 62. Jen, thank you. Gottlieb, Miss Abel, you've been handed a document marked, and it's got a Jonesworks space number, a text chain between you and Stephanie Jones on June 17th, 2024. Previously, I had asked you if if you had recommended the retention of any other individuals in this case, because they could bury Miss Lively. So that's leading. Yeah, then we jump. Oh, I hate it when this happens. And that cuts off there. We jump to page 300, and the witness is saying yes. Gottlieb. All I'm asking, Miss Abel, is you didn't tell anyone to don't look at my signal messages, right? Jen, no. Gottlieb, okay. So if you had them, presumably, and they were responsive, they would have been produced to us, right? Friedman objects. Jen, I believe so, yes. Gottlieb. And again, Signal is a messaging platform where messages delete after a certain period of time, right? I mean, I think he's hammered home the point that Signal messages have a delete function. No one's disputing that. It's proven they did it deliberately. They haven't even proved that she was using it. Right. Friedman objects. Jen, yes. Gottlieb, handing you what's been marked as Exhibit 70. This is a document bearing the Bates numbers, Jonesworks. And Ms. Abel, I'm only going to be asking you about questions starting with messages on. I'm sure we're jumping. Yeah, we're jumping now, like to page 322. Gottlieb, your email accounts. Right, Jen, I don't know. Gottlieb, do you know, for example, whether your RWA email account deletes information after a certain period of time? Jen, I do not know. Gottlieb, did you ever at any point go check whether the RWA account has an auto-delete feature on it? Jen, I don't believe it does, but I did not specifically check. Has anyone ever checked their emails to see if it has an auto-delete function? Gottlieb, did you ever receive an instruction to discontinue any deletion, auto-delete functions that might exist on your accounts? Friedman, objection. I will instruct you not to answer any communications you had with counsel. Other than counsel, did you get an instruction from someone? Jen, no. Right. Gottlieb, did you come to understand at any time, Miss Abel, that you had an obligation to preserve documents relating to the dispute between Miss Lively and Mr. Baldoni? Friedman, same instruction, as it will invade the attorney-client privilege. So even if you're going to say yes to that, that's going to invade the attorney-client privilege. So you're not going to, I'm going to instruct her not to answer. Gottlieb, about the simple fact of whether she knew she was required to preserve documents is revealing the actual privileged communication. Gottlieb, okay. Then he asks, so are you going to follow your counsel's instruction? Jen says, yes, I'm going to follow my counsel's instruction. He says, okay. Other than the signal thread that we talked about earlier in August, between August and December of 2024, can you think of any other signal thread or signal communications that you sent or received to anyone about anything? Jen, not that I can recall, no. Gottlieb, okay. Have you had signal communications since December of 2024? Jen, December 2024 until now? Gottlieb, yes. Jen, yes. Gottlieb, and how many signal? Gottlieb, yes. Jen, yes. Right. So Gottlieb, and how many different signal chains or threads do you have going at any one time now? Jen, I don't recall. I don't know. Gottlieb, have those signal communications included communications about the issue in this case? Jen, to clarify, I have with my attorneys. Gottlieb, okay. Have any of those communications been about the press? Jen, I don't recall. Gottlieb, have you communicated with Mr. Wallace on Signal any time from December of 2024 to the present? Jen, with inclusion of my attorneys? Gottlieb, so the answer is yes. Jen. Yes, with inclusion of my attorneys. Gottlieb. Okay, have you communicated with Mr. Wallace outside of any threads, including your attorneys? Jen. Not that I can recall. Gottlieb. Since the lawsuit was filed, have you taken any steps, not talking about any conversations or advice you have received, but have you taken any steps personally to ensure that your communications are preserved? Friedman. Other than what you've learned from counsel, you can answer if you've taken steps outside of what we discussed. Jen. I produced documents as requested. Gottlieb. Mr. Friedman, she can testify about what she's done, even if she's discussed what she's done with you. That's clearly not privileged. Yeah, spicy. Gottlieb. And so my question is, can you think of anything that you have done? I don't want to know about what you talked to your lawyers about, but can you think of anything you have done, any steps you have taken, outside of the conversations you've had with counsel, but actual things you've done to preserve your documents, your electronic communications in this case? Jen. Yes, and I apologize. I thought I had answered. I produced everything as requested. Gottlieb. Okay, so my question is a little bit different. So, Jen, okay. Gottlieb, I understand what you're saying. I understand you're saying you produced what you found. My question is, at any point in time, do you have a recollection of taking steps to ensure that nothing would be deleted, no auto-delete functions would be on, no messages would expire from a set period of time, or the like, anything like that? Friedman. Same instruction as to attorney-client privilege. If you can answer it outside of that, you can answer it. Jen. Yeah, I don't think I can answer it. Gottlieb. Are you aware that you have produced 4 signal communications to us in this case? Friedman. Again, if you're aware of it based on something you've learned from counsel, I would like you to not provide that information. If you're aware of it some other way, you can answer. Jen. I'm not aware of it any other way. Gottlieb. Do you know that there are signal communications that you've been copied on that have been produced to us in this case that you have not produced to us in this case? Friedman. Objection. Jen. No. Gottlieb. Did you have signal communications with Sage Steele in early January of 2025? Jen. I don't recall by signal. Gottlieb. But you had some communications that you recall with Sage Steele in early January 2025? Jen. Yes, I recall Sage had reached out to us. This case personally resonated with her. I believe she had a brother who was falsely accused. And she expressed interest in wanting to support our defense. So that was a nice little bitch slap to Lively. Gottlieb, and do you know that you had signal communications with Miss Coslow and Miss Nathan in January 2025 that did not include your attorneys? Friedman. Object. Jen. In January, I don't recall. Gottlieb. Okay, but your testimony is that you produced to us everything that could be found in your phone that was responsive to our request, right? And then it cuts off there. That was interesting. All right, now we got a portion of Justin Baldoni's deposition transcript. I noticed with the Jen Abel one, some of the pages we had read in like another filing. I'd already read them on a previous video. That is likely to happen, but I don't know for sure. So I'm going to, even if I think, oh, I've read this already, I'm just going to read it anyway. So this starts on page 136. Looks like Justin's part of the way answering. Time, but I believe he thought she was very good at her job. I'm trying to work out who's doing the questioning. Looks like it might be Shah. I'm not sure who that is. We'll figure it out. Okay. Question. Do you know what led him to believe that? Justin, I don't. Question. Did you have any personal role in making the decision to hire Melissa Nathan over any of the other crisis PRs that may have been recommended? Justin. No. Question. Are you aware of where Jamie got the names for potential crisis communications professionals that he was considering? Justin. I imagine from, and then Shapiro interjects, Mr. Baldoni, don't speculate. Justin. No, I actually don't. Question. You don't know? Justin. No. Question. Do you know if he or anyone else at Wayfarer asked Stephanie Jones for her views on crisis communications professionals that you should hire? Justin. I don't. Question. Do you know if she recommended Melissa Nathan or not? Justin. If Stephanie Jones recommended, I now know that she didn't. Question. How do you come to that understanding? Shapiro. Mr. Baldoni, don't answer. And then Justin says no. Shapiro, if the information come from you, oh, okay, so talking over each other. Okay, Justin, yes, I can answer this. Stephanie had sent me a text about Melissa Nathan. Question. You knew at the time that Stephanie did not recommend that you hire Melissa Nathan, correct? Shapiro, objection. Baldoni, I knew that Stephanie did not like Melissa Nathan, yes. Question. And Stephanie warned you against hiring Melissa Nathan, isn't that right? Justin, I think you could put it that way with my interaction with Stephanie, yeah. Question. And were you aware that Stephanie also warned Jamie Heath and Tara Hanks against hiring Melissa Nathan? Justin, I was only aware of what she texted me. Okay, so it's continuing. Question. Jamie Heath and Tara Hanks never told you that Stephanie Jones had also warned them against hiring Melissa Nathan? Justin, not that I can recall. Question. Do you have an understanding as to why Stephanie Jones was warning you against hiring Melissa Nathan? Justin, I vaguely remember. I think there was a text message that she sent that she said, I'm reading it in my mind. There was a word shady in there, and it was like a link to something that I never clicked on. Question. Other than the text message you're describing with Stephanie Jones, did you ever have a conversation with her about this issue, whether in person or on the phone? Justin, I don't know. My memory of this time was that there was a lot of messages, and it was like I might have spoken to Stephanie. I don't remember the conversation, but it felt like a frantic energy from Stephanie. A psychic probably told her something. Question. Did you give any credence to the information that she was giving you in terms of why you should not hire Melissa Nathan to be aligned with you? Shapiro objects. Justin, what do you mean by credence exactly? Question. Did you take her concerns seriously? Justin, I believe I did. Question. Did you do anything to investigate them further before you hired Melissa Nathan? Justin, I didn't have any capacity at that time to do personal investigation. No. Question. Did you relay Stephanie's concerns to Jamie Heath or Tara Hanks at the time? Justin, I believe I did, yes. Question. Tell me what you recall about the substance of those conversations or communications. Justin, I remember passing along that Stephanie doesn't like. I didn't know who Melissa Nathan was. One of the people. That's what I remember. Question. Do you remember Stephanie Jones telling you in sum or substance that Melissa Nathan and the tactics she uses as a crisis communications professional are not the kinds of tactics that you want to publicly associate yourself with. Justin, that sounds very familiar. Question, are you aware that Wayfarer and you decided to hire Melissa Nathan over Stephanie Jones's objections? Justin, I would imagine so, yes. And then Miss Shah, okay, I'm going to show you what's marked as a document, Exhibit 5. It's a text message between you and Stephanie Jones dated July 26, 2024, Bates stamped Jonesworks. Is this a text message that you were referring to that Stephanie Jones sent you when she warned you against hiring Melissa Nathan? Justin, it appears to be. Question, this was sent July 26, 2024. So does this refresh your recollection that you were considering bringing on Crisis PR before July 26, 2024? Justin, yes. Question, okay, and as you recall, Stephanie Jones sent you a link at the top of the text thread, right? Justin, yes. Question, you said you never clicked on that, and then it cuts off, goes to page 145. Justin, I don't know. No, I don't know. Question, because you never asked her what she meant by that? Shapiro objects. Justin, unless you have a document that says I did, I don't feel like I did. Question, okay, Michelle, okay, I'm going to show you a document that's been marked Exhibit 6. Justin, you got it. Question, it's a text message between Stephanie Jones, Jamie Heath, Tara Hanks, and you. Justin, dated July 26th. Bates stamped Jonesworks. Do you see this? Justin, yes. Question, okay, do you recall this text message when you received it? Justin, vaguely, yes. Question, okay, and in this text message, Stephanie Jones warned you, Tara Hanks, and Jamie Heath that you should not work with Melissa Nathan because there's a lot of dirty work she has done, and it's not someone you should want in Justin's orb. Do you see that? Justin, yes. Question, okay. And she goes on to say, and she's reading here, or for Blake's PR to use as a weapon against him. Do you see that? Justin, yes, I do. Question, did you ever have a conversation with her about what she meant by that? Justin, I did not have a conversation with Stephanie at all around this. Question, okay. Do you have any understanding whether from this text message or anything else that you knew at the time about what she meant when she said, I just downloaded Terra on some dark stuff? Justin, I don't. Question, did Terra ever relay the substance of that conversation to you? Justin, I think I had a conversation with Terra and Jamie that I didn't want to be part of any of this, so I trusted them to make the decision. I don't believe she told me anything. Okay, question. Okay. Do you understand from this text message that Stephanie's telling you and Jamie and Tara that it might not be good for you to be associated with someone like Melissa Nathan based on the type of tactics that she has used in the past? Justin, that seems to be an accurate summary. Question, and that if people knew that you were associated with Melissa Nathan, or specifically if Blake's PR came to find out that you had associated yourself with Melissa Nathan, they could use that against you because of who Melissa Nathan was, right? Shapiro objects. Justin, I can't speculate as to what she meant by that, but it seems to be what she says Blake's PR to use as a weapon, so... Question. Okay. Now, Wayfarer and you, Justin asks, are you done with this one? And Shah says, I think so. Justin says, here you go. Question. Wayfarer and you went ahead and hired Melissa Nathan after and despite Stephanie Jones's warnings, right? Shapiro objects. Justin, I believe so. Question. And there came a time in August after you had hired Melissa Nathan that the Hollywood Reporter published an article about the fact that you had hired Melissa Nathan, right? Justin. Yes. Question. I'm going to show you that article. Michelle says, it's a document we're going to mark as Exhibit 7. Justin says, thank you. Question. It's an article from the Hollywood Reporter dated August 14th, 2024, that says Justin Baldoni hires crisis PR veteran amid it ends with us rift. Do you see that? Justin. Question. And it goes on to say, and then she reads, the director and star has retained the services of Melissa Nathan, who represented Johnny Depp during the Amber Heard trial. Do you see that? I mean, I'm not sure what they're proving with this point, because Johnny Depp was also falsely accused and found to be innocent in a court of law. So I'm not sure where they're going with that kind of line. Surely, the Harvey Weinstein angle that Blake Lively's PR has is more pertinent, who was found guilty of, sexual crimes. Justin, excuse me. On the second page, yes. Question. Okay, you were pretty upset when this article came out, right? Justin, I don't remember what I was feeling. Question. You were worried when this article came out that being publicly associated with Melissa Nathan might make it look like you had something to be guilty for, right? Shapiro objects. Justin, no. I think I was just not happy that my crisis PR was being publicized. I don't think it had anything to do with Melissa Nathan. Question. Why were you not happy that your crisis PR was publicized? Justin, because it felt more of the kind of thing that felt like somebody would plant to draw more attention and fan a flame to something. Question. Fan a flame to what? I mean, come on. Question. Justin, to public speculation, the fan theories of why I wasn't too impressed with anyone. And question, what were the fan theories at the time about why you weren't too impressed with anyone? Justin, I remember there being a lot of talk about all of the cast unfollowing me, why I wasn't too impressed with any of the other cast members. I don't remember the date that this came out, but I don't know if I had already done the premiere or not at this point. But I had also never read an article or seen an article about somebody hiring crisis PR, so I found it odd. Question, and you thought it made you look bad, right? Justin, yeah, I think I did. Question, you thought it made you look like you had something to hide? Lead in. Justin, I think I had never been involved in anything like this, and I wasn't used to seeing my name in the press in this way at all. And I certainly didn't want my name out there in a negative way. Question, you thought it made you look like you had something to hide that had to do with the allegations of on-set abuse, right? Shapiro objects. And then we jump to page 226. Question, which part do you not agree with? Justin, can you ask me again? Question, you left Jonesworks to go with Jennifer Abel as a publicist after Jennifer Abel was fired from Jonesworks, right? Shapiro objects. Justin, I don't know the sequence. I know that Jennifer had put in her notice, so I'm confused by the way the question is asked. Question, let me ask it in a different way. You left Jonesworks to go with Jennifer Abel as a publicist after she left Jonesworks, right? Shapiro objects. Justin, yes. Question, why? Justin, because she was my publicist for years before, and I trusted her. Question, do you still trust her? Shapiro objects. Justin says, I do. Question. Okay, have you seen any documents or text messages in this case or otherwise where Stephanie Jones is talking shit about you the way Jen Abel was? Justin, I haven't seen any documents about Stephanie Jones in general, to my knowledge. Question. Okay. Justin, are we done with this one? Yes. Okay. Question. Are you aware that after Wayfarer onboarded Tag as its crisis publicist, Katie Case and Melissa Nathan were joking about whether your faith was a cult? Shapiro objects. Justin, I was not aware. Question. What do you think that was about? What do you think about that? Sorry. Yeah, what do you think about that? Shapiro objects. Justin, well, I think anytime anyone makes a religious joke, I think that's not okay. It seems to have happened a lot in this case. Question. Including from your own publicist, it seems? Shapiro objects. Justin, if you want to show it to me, I'd be happy to see it. I haven't heard anything. This is the first I'm hearing about it. Sure. And then she, tab 139, please. I will show you a document that's marked as in Exhibit 13. It's a text thread between Katie Case and Melissa Nathan from August 4th, 2024, with the bait stamp Nathan. Justin, okay. Sorry, there is more than one page. Question, have you seen this before? Justin, I have not. Question, were you aware that Katie Case and Melissa Nathan were texting things like this about you while they were on a call with you? Shapiro objects. Justin says, I was not. And then that comes to the end of that. Oh, that's really sad. So we've now got a portion of Jamie Heath's deposition transcript. I think I'm going to kind of cut the video at this point and then move on to do a part 2 for, the rest of the documents, because this is getting to be quite a long video. I don't want it to go on for too long. So this is Jamie Heath, starting at page 166. They've just come back after lunch. Okay. So question. Good afternoon, Mr. Heath. Good afternoon. Before lunch, we were discussing your decision to bring on Tag and Melissa Nathan to handle crisis communications. You had mentioned that at some point, Jen had recommended to you that you should consider bringing on crisis communications professionals. Is that right? Jamie, correct. Question. What do you recall about that conversation? Jamie, I don't recall her saying that she didn't do crisis. I recall her saying that she didn't do crisis PR, and this might be a conversation with a crisis PR firm. Question, do you recall when that conversation occurred? Jamie, I don't. Question, do you think it was like within several days of when you first talked to Melissa Nathan? Shapiro, objection. Jamie, I don't know if it was in several days, but it wasn't weeks. Question, okay. Did she recommend Melissa Nathan to you as a potential person that you could hire for crisis comms? Jamie, I believe it was her, yes. Question, okay, meaning it was Jen? Jamie, I believe so. Question, did she give you any other names of any other people or firms other than Melissa Nathan that you should consider for crisis communications? Jamie, I don't remember. She may have, I don't remember. Question, okay. You can't think of any as you sit here today? Jamie, I can't. Question, did you personally speak with Melissa Nathan or anyone from TAG before you decided to hire them? Jamie, I did. Question, did you personally speak with or interview any other crisis communications professional? Jamie, I did not. Question. Did anyone at Wayfarer ever speak with or interview any other crisis communications professional than Melissa Nathan? Jamie, not that I'm aware of. Question. Okay. Did you also ask, or did anyone at Wayfarer ask just Stephanie Jones for recommendations for crisis communications professionals? Jamie, I believe we did. Question. Okay. Jamie, or I don't know if we asked or if they were just shared, but I do know that we got some recommendations from Stephanie Jones. I don't recall how that happened. Question. Okay. And Melissa Nathan was not on Stephanie Jones's list of recommendations to you for crisis communications, right? Jamie, she was not. Question. You were aware that Stephanie Jones expressly warned you that you should not hire Melissa Nathan for this role, correct? Jamie, I was aware. Question. What was your understanding of the reasons that Stephanie thought you should not hire Melissa Nathan in this role? Jamie, to start with, I had a phone conversation. Then it cuts off. It jumps to page 228. Jamie's halfway through and answering. Remember answer me the question one more time if you don't mind. Question. Sure. Do you have any basis to tell me as you sit here today that Stephanie Jones didn't follow your instruction for her to stand down after you told her to do that? Jamie, I don't know. I can't recall anything. Question. Okay. And after the point in time that you told Stephanie she was not to contact any reporters on behalf of Wayfarer or Justin, did you have any substantive or strategy or other communications or conversations with Stephanie about Wayfarer's publicity after that? Shapiro objects. Jamie, after I asked her to stand down. Did I have any subsequent conversations with her? Yes. About the positioning of Jonesworks with Wayfarer? Question. About Wayfarer's publicity plans. Jamie, right. Not immediately after I don't. When I say immediately, I don't mean within days because we were dealing with the current flames. But that is something that became apparent to me that there seemed to be no discussion on that there seemed to be no discussion on that at some point. Once I had learned. You mean during this time or at any time? Question. What I'm essentially asking is, after you told her to stand down, did you later loop her back onto the team and get her involved or no? Jamie, as I said, she's never been involved. Question. Okay. Jamie, as far as I'm concerned. Question. Okay. So you didn't invite her into the team after that? Shapiro objects. Jamie, she was never a part of it. Okay. Jamie, no offense to Stephanie. Understood. Interesting. I do find that may put a bit of potentially may put a bit of a dent in Jen Abel's claims against Stephanie Jones or her defenses. Because Stephanie Jones is saying that Jen Abel is acting beyond the scope of her employment. Stephanie Jones, she was doing things that Stephanie Jones was not part of, etc. Jen Abel was saying, well, hold on a minute, no, you were copied in, you were definitely part of this, you knew everything, etc. And I have seen some evidence for that, but then you've got Jamie Heath here sitting here saying, yeah, she was never part of it. She was never part of the team. No, I didn't have to loop her back in because she wasn't part. She didn't have any role in this. And that kind of supports Stephanie's version of events in many ways. Not entirely, but I'm just saying that, I would be adding those kind of deposition excerpts if I was counsel for Stephanie Jones. Be like, oh, hold on a minute. No, I didn't. Look, see, even Jamie Heath here says that. I wasn't part of it. And that's just, I don't know. All right, I'm going to move on to part 2, see what we have there.